I want to talk about the really scary and upsetting news that EA has announced over the last few days. EA has announced they are agreeing to sell to private investors. Please know my goal is not to fearmonger or add to the stress and anxiety we all already have, but talk about my thoughts and feelings to ensure I'm being transparent with my community on where I stand. It makes me very worried about the future of The Sims and what implications this sale could cause. This sale essentially means that they won't be held by public trading platforms anymore and will be held privately. These private investors are not the people we want owning our beloved Sims games. Affinity Partners, which is Jared Kushner's private investment firm. Jared Kushner is Donald Trump's son-in-law, who is married to Ivanka Trump. The PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. And there are plenty of dark implications there. Humanitarian issues like not respecting basic human rights, and the potential of those elements influencing EA games is concerning. And lastly, Silver Lake Management. These organizations offer no benefit for the art of making games, and if I can be quite frank, want to exploit the art of making games for their own profit. The Sims has made such growth with their inclusivity. To have such a conservative group of people owning The Sims is overwhelmingly frightening. Now, this sale hasn't been confirmed, but it is set to happen in fiscal Q1 of 2027, which is any time between April 1st and June 30th of 2026. $55 billion is the selling price. This marks the largest leveraged buyout on record. This is why it's not just gaming outlets discussing this issue, all the finance outlets are also interested in this deal. When you take companies off the public exchanges and buying them out, you have to offer premium pricing to get that to happen. What will then happen is the board of directors will vote on it. Now, the board of directors is made up of the largest shareholders. And if you're going to take a company off the market, you need to have it be in the best interest of the shareholders. And from a shareholder's perspective, the stock wasn't going to reach this price anytime soon. So it makes sense for the shareholders, but for us, another story. CEO Andrew Wilson will remain CEO because, of course, the whole point of this venture isn't to make EA games better. It's to pursue financial goals. It's to make as much money as they can. So this brings up the issue of what implications will arise when making this sale. Now, of course, all of this is speculation, but JP Morgan Chase & Co. are providing $20 billion of debt to EA due to the buyout. This is extremely distressing because there is going to be high pushback on the CEO to pay that debt off. And what my theories are, which aren't confirmed, is that Simmers are going to be paying the cost of that. An example of this is more microtransactions and possibly putting Project Renee on hold because that wouldn't make as much money. We'd rather fish out as much money as we can from the existing games. And of course, lastly, our EA employees being affected by this. I was part of a buyout in the recent years of a company, and might I just say, my mental health was at an all-time low during this time. I was promised my job would stay the same, but it changed entirely. And rather, the values I had shared with the organization upon starting the role were work-life balance, I was now working around the clock and expected that plus more. So the way I feel for the EA employees is the highest of empathy. Now again, of course, speculation, but in cutting the costs, EA employees may be laid off in that process. And another fear of mine is how interested these companies are in replacing artists with AI. This is a disturbing reality that I do not want to be a part of. AI is having companies lose their soul, use their human element. That creative soul, it's different when a human does it. Whilst this purchase is from a money-hungry perspective, will they be so silly to stop including inclusivity and diverse people within the game that the Simmers love? Doesn't seem like the smartest choice, but who knows? We have no clue what is going through these people's heads. The questions that get brought up is if creators and players should continue playing this game with such horrific people owning the company. And what's so hard and disturbing about this timeline that we live in is that we find so much joy and love from this game. The Sims community is the first gaming community I've been a part of that feels safe and open. We are just different, and I have had my fair share of playing in different gaming communities, like playing COD, Apex Legends, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, and the list goes on. But Simmers are just different, and it kills me to know that Trump's son-in-law will be in charge of us. But what is an unfortunate truth is EA wasn't perfect yesterday. Like, they weren't angels themselves. And I'm going to be honest here, it is hard to find big corporations that are angels. PIF has owned 10% of EA since 2021. This isn't their first purchase in the gaming world either. They have their paws in Nintendo, Take-Two, Capcom, and lots of other huge gaming companies. But although this is their first private sale, where does it leave us Simmers? It's hard to say. I'm going to keep playing The Sims. I'm going to continue to be honest about my experience with The Sims and EA when need be, but this puts us all in a really tough spot, and the idea of supporting them honestly deeply concerns me. But I think us drawing attention and pushing back is important. If this was a different story of them stopping the inclusivity and diversity that is in the game, this would be a different discussion. We don't know anything really. We have to continue educating ourselves, and I will definitely be reading up on it and understanding what this process might imply, what the possible implications of this process is. To be quite frank, I've never been interested in a company selling before, so this is my first rodeo. And look, people have talked about possible positives that could come of this, not about the owners themselves, and if it were about the owners themselves, I'd hope you're not watching this video. But some people think they might have more freedom, not having to go to the public shareholders to get approval for certain things, and maybe they could add certain aspects into the game or invest money into other things, but we don't know. We don't. To wrap this up, I want to make so clear how heartbreaking this news has been. I am expecting bad news, just to the extent of how bad, I am not sure. I will list below some articles I've used to help educate myself. As I've said, I'm not the know or be all. I am just a simmer that wants to share her experience and love and happiness for a game. Please feel free to use the comment section down below to talk out your feelings. I think it's important throughout this time, a highly emotional time, I might say, that we speak to one another and that we stick together. I do post on my other social media platforms quicker than I would post a YouTube video, so if you do want to follow me there on any updates, definitely feel free to. Just because I don't know if I will make another video about this topic or not. My heart goes out to the EA employees. This news has affected all of us, but I can only imagine how uneasy they are feeling right now. I want to support them and I want to stick by them. And I'm going to end this video here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Sim Shady is out. Bye, besties.